Thank you for coming out today to the rally for Jun Wang with the Foundation for Jun Wang. I'm Don Bryant with Greater Cleveland Immigrant Support Network, and I wanted to welcome you all. Thank you for coming from all parts of the city to pay respect for this rally and calling justice for Jun Wang, who was murdered by the North Royalton police 5 years ago. We're going to continue with more actions, which you'll hear about today. I first would like to introduce Reverend Nozomi Akuda, pastor at Denison United Church of Christ, Denison Avenue United Church of Christ, and also a human rights activist in her spare time. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We have people here from a lot of different religious and spiritual traditions and beliefs, and we respect everybody's perspective. As a Christian minister, though, I do want to take note that in my tradition, this is the day before Easter. And I think all of us in this season understand what springtime signifies for all of us. New life, new hope. It's a time for reawakening. And so in this season, let this time be a time of reawakening our awareness and our consciousness about this injustice that has taken place, and let hope spring forth as the truth becomes revealed and we come together to join our hearts, our minds, and our spirits to see that justice takes place. So let us join our hearts and minds in the spirit of prayer. Gracious and mighty God, Holy Spirit, breathe in us your strength, breathe in us your power, breathe in us your love. Reconnect us with who we truly are, the beloved, beautiful, and precious children, people made in your image, implanted with the mark of the divine. Almighty God, even as our hearts break, remembering the terrible way that Jun Wang left the planet, on this day we also give you thanks for his spirit of gentleness, his spirit of grace, his compassion, his commitment to human rights in his own context, and the way that he continued to channel your love and the way he lived out his life here in North Royalton. Oh God, let us unite our hearts and minds together to create a world in which there is grace and mercy for people who suffer from all kinds of handicaps and hardships. Oh God, where there is grace and mercy and justice for everyone who has inherited a legacy of genocide and trauma and injustice. And oh God, let us weave together the human fabric, the human family, in which love and justice and respect for all will prevail. Let it be so among us. Let it be so right here, right now. Amen and Ashe.
Thank you, Reverend Nozomi. Now we're going to march over to the North Royalton Police Department, which is just over there to the west, and we'll go on the sidewalk here, down there, and to the main road, and then we'll walk right to the police station, where we will continue with our speeches for today. All set?
Yep.
Thank you.
Right.
Looking good with all the signs. Let's do it.
Indict, convict, send the killer cops to jail. 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 Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail.
Yes, thank you for having me here today. Underneath unfortunate circumstances, we understand how the corruption in Cuyahoga County is so real make it uncomfortable for us to have accountability in this county. A couple things we want Jason Kimball and we want Kip McDonald. We want them indicted and convicted. That's what one of our demands is. That's what the family demands is. We want them convicted. We want a conviction and we want an indictment. The second thing is, I think for the most part, North Royalton needs to develop a civilian oversight, meaning that will put some power in the community's hand, and the community to have a voice in the community to prevail, and just really have some transparency and some accountability. So I think if folks are residents of North Royalton, you should get with your city council, look at the charter and see if it can be amended. That's some things that we did in Cuyahoga County. I'm a member of issue Citizens for Safer Cleveland, which we got issue 24 passed. So I think the city of North Royalton, and from my understanding, the corruption with officers out here, they need to be watched, right? They need to be babysitted. So I think we can start here with a civilian oversight being implemented in North Royalton. I suggest that. One thing, we want you all to make phone calls. We want you to make phone calls and letters to the mayor, chief of police, council, city council out here. Because keep in mind, the city council, you know, that's their colleagues at the end of the day. So they have a lot of stake with what happens when it comes to the police department out here in North Royalton. You really want to address city council and the chief of police in regards to, you know, the city charter and seeing how it could be amended, right? So we want you all to call the police chief, Keith Taraz. We want you to call Mayor Larry Entis. I don't know if Larry Entis, that's the mayor?
Yeah, and Staskowitz.
And Staskowitz. And the president of city council is Paul Manchek. And we have phone numbers, we have emails, and that will get this party started into getting some type of answers, possibly some type of accountability. One thing I know in my journey with fighting for justice for the spirit is that they don't like to be uncomfortable. You know, they don't like to be uncomfortable. So it's our job as community and activists to make it uncomfortable and hold them accountable to do their job. So that's where I would like to see for the city of North Royalton, especially with city council having so much say-so in what happens in the city. The residents really need to galvanize with city council and demand the answers, demand accountability, demand transparency. That's what I feel strongly for the city of North Royalton.
Judge, could you repeat that? You weren't in the speaker for the news.
Okay.
Demand what? Demand
Oh, the demands?
accountability.
Oh, yeah. So what I suggest is people to get involved with their city council to hold the officers responsible, also the chief of police, also the president of city council. They hold a stake in the city, and you can get the charter and read it, like I said, and ask those hard, difficult questions. And they should be transparent, and we want some accountability for Jun Wang's death. We want some accountability for Jun Wang's death. In these situations, they should never have called the police. They should always call the medical EMS. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that day, and we know that the police is very corrupt. They participate in cover up in murder, and it's just unfortunate that that charter, get in contact with the chief of police and the mayor, and let people start writing letters and phone calls to start demanding answers in regards to Jun Wang's death. And why is the officer still working? Why are they still working? I don't understand. They have so many citations under their belt, and I can't understand why they're still working. So my understanding, I think it's like 20 apiece of citations. Like they should be. They should be suspended right now. They should be suspended with no pay, no nothing until this investigation is over, and then they should be indicted and convicted. That's what I feel right now in regards to Jun Wang's death. So again, in the way that you all can do that, again, we have to get with City Council. We have to hold them accountable. We have to demand transparency. And we have to look at that charter, and it has to be changed. It has to be amended to protect the community and the citizens of North Royalton. Absolutely. That's what we did in Cuyahoga. That's what we did in Cleveland. And as you all see, it went historic. And, you know, we're holding their foot to the fire. You know what I'm saying? So it's just important that you know about North Royalton and what is going on with this police department out here. So thank you all. Okay. Indict, convict, send them killer cops to jail. 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 Indict, send them killer cops to jail. That's right, absolutely. What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want it? Now! Say his name, Jun Wang! Say his name, Jun Wang! Say his name, Jun Wang! Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. Always empowering us to move forward for the right thing. Next up, I want to introduce Josiah Quarles. He's a co-founder of Black Spring Cleveland, and a coordinator with the Tamir Rice Foundation.
Thank you everyone for showing up here today, having me here today on this occasion, on this weekend where we talk about resurrection. We are here in the midst of death, trying to resurrect justice for Jun Wang. We are here together, we are here as a community, as one voice, understanding that what transpired on that day was not right, and what transpired every day after that is not right. Because justice delayed is justice denied.
That's right.
There is a future, there is a better future that we can create for ourselves, in which people with compassion and empathy and training and the right temperament are put in these situations to handle individuals who are in crisis. However, somebody who signed up for the SWAT team is not the right person. And we understand that procedures have continuously been violated, that our dignity has continually been violated, our homes have been violated. And it will stand no more. I have a few words from Julia I'm gonna read today. I'm here today to speak to you all about our brother, Jun Wang. Jun was murdered right in front of Julia by the North Royalton police. Our brother Jun was a very compassionate, kind, and intelligent, gifted young man. They were loved by so many, and risked their life to participate in the 1989 student movement with students in China to fight for human rights and democracy. Our brother was unexpectedly and tragically murdered on October 28, 2016. North Royalton PD has been lying for 5 years, trying to cover up for the murder. Our brother was not a criminal, but suffered from the chronic illness of schizophrenia, which was related to the persecution he suffered. Julia contacted the North Royalton Police Department to serve a civil probate order to take him to the hospital and get medical treatment. The North Royalton Police did not provide an ambulance, nor a mobile crisis team, nor psychologist, or even translator. They entered the residence where the crisis was. John and Julia requested an ambulance and it was rejected. John requested 5 officers' assistance, it was rejected. Julia requested mobile crisis and a psychologist, it was rejected. John requested a translator, it was rejected. Julia requested to talk to her brother first before they entered the home. The basic request was rejected as well. Instead, the police pushed her out of the way. They barged into the house, frightened, chased, cornered, and shot her brother like a rabid animal. There was no need for them to push Julia aside, nor rush into her home, or scare the hell out of her brother when he was peacefully sitting in front of the TV, eating cheese and crackers, minding his own business. He was not a criminal, but was treated as a criminal, as too many are. The probate order for assistance was disregarded. They stormed into a peaceful home, waving an order and yelling at him as if he had a criminal arrest warrant. He could not speak English, only know to scream, "No! No! No!" Trying to tell them, I'm not a criminal. I don't know what's happening. Please stop. He dropped what he was eating to the floor right away, ran upstairs to get away from them. Instead of back off, the 2 cops went against everything they had been trained to do and chased him up the stairs, forced him into handcuffs, even though he was not fighting, but screaming no. So loud, the house was shaking. All he could do was scream, "No, no, no," trying to get their attention, wanting them to respect his boundary, pleading for help. But unfortunately, these 2 officers that Julia thought might help her get her brother the medical assistance that he needed, they shot him twice. They shot him once as he tried to defend himself, and then once with his hands cuffed behind his back. They locked Julia in a police car for 3 hours. After her brother was fatally shot, there was no ambulance arranged to treat him. No ambulance arrived for over half an hour, when it should have been there before the police arrived in the first place. They transported the officer who was injured with a not life-threatening injury and left her brother dying alone in the bedroom upstairs. Since this traumatic encounter, Julia cannot go home. She has suffered daily. She has felt so empty that the death weighed on her every day. And when Julia saw police in uniform or in a car, she has severe panic attacks. Instead of doing the right thing and apologizing to her and disciplining the wrongdoing of that day, the department made up lies and covered up and praised the wrongful officer's bravery. This country will never be a great country if we cannot correct our wrongs. Lies upon lies cannot make right a wrong. Although our brother physically is not here with us, his spirit is with us. And he wants us to carry on with democracy, community, compassion, and respect for each other. To remember our brother, I want Patrolman Kimmel and McDonald removed and prosecuted for their murder. If Kimmel had not prejudiced himself against Julia for years, he would not have denied the medical assistance the probate court ordered for her brother. This prejudice is evil and costs innocent lives. People with different colors should not be treated differently. People with mental illness should be receiving the same respect as people who do not have that same illness. No one should be treated as a criminal, but as a human being, for you are innocent until proven guilty. The police is supposedly here to serve and to protect, not to think of themselves, nor to deny the rights of others because of their medical conditions, their nationality, their skin color, or any other physical or mental condition. Up until today, Julia and all of us can still hear the loud noise shaking the house in the single syllable of no. Our brother screamed with all his strength. Our brother who was tragically murdered by prejudice, negligence, and hate at age 45, still a promising age. His spirit wants us to stop this brutality. To all officers who do follow the law, we extend an amount of faith, but that is contingent on the accountability and the transparency of all your fellow officers. Please respect our lives, even when suffering in body or in spirit or in mind. Respect us as you would have us respect you. The America that we have now is a travesty to those who fought and died for the ideals of this country. The lack of respect for people by those entrusted with power and authority is a travesty to what this country has been supposedly founded and fought for, and it must change. Justice for June!
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Josiah. And to add on to that, we are demanding that Jason Kimmel again and Kip McDonald be removed from their posts and their positions and get ready for an indictment and a conviction. So that's what the families is requesting. That's what Julie and her family needs, and that's what the community needs. We need accountability so we can move forward and trying to make it better. And it's not going to happen if there's no accountability, if there's no transparency. And for officers that has had strikes against their name, complaints against their name, they should never be in office. They should never be part of a police department where you're supposed to protect and serve. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
We need a world where our homes are safe, where our families are safe, where our communities are safe. And what we've seen here is that that you are no safer as a Chinese immigrant in North Royalton in your home than you are as a 12-year-old child at Kudell Recreational Center. So I thank Ms. Rice for supporting Julia and this effort today. And I'd like to welcome Shweta from PSL, as well as the Jun Wang Foundation, to share a few words with us.
Thank you to everyone who came out to honor Jun Wang, and thank you to the incredible speakers for sharing your words with us. I'm a representative of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and I want to keep my statement brief by outlining 3 action items that everyone here can do to stay involved in Jun's fight for justice. I still remember how I felt when Julia told me the story of what happened to Jun. I felt the blood rush to my face as I got angrier with every detail of the injustice that resulted in Jun's death. But I also felt a deep ache in my heart, not just because of the loss of Jun, but for Julia. Her story resonated with me because I have a baby brother myself. Growing up, I was always told that it was my responsibility as the older sister to protect my brother. I could feel how palpable Julia's grief was at not being able to protect her brother that night. But I also saw her strength and her resolve to pick up the pieces of her life afterwards and fight like hell to get justice for Jun and so many people like him. It shows her commitment to justice, but most importantly, the deep love she has for her brother. And that's why I knew I wanted to do everything I could to help Julia. And I suspect that all of you feel the same way. The same sense of purpose and solidarity with Julia's fight, because many of us did not know Jun or have any connection to his family, but still felt compelled to show up in support today. I want to acknowledge the incredible community that we have assembled here today, and also prove to Julia and any family impacted by police violence that you are not alone in your fight for justice. We are all here to fight with you. Today has been an important step forward in restoring the humanity that was stripped away from Jun all those years ago, but the fight is nowhere near over. Julia needs all the help she can get, which is why I'm calling on everyone in the audience to support her by taking these 3 action items. The first is to donate to her cause. The money will go towards Jun's legal defense fund, as well as advocacy efforts to ensure all people with a mental illness receive the care and respect they deserve. I am also asking everyone here to learn more about the Justice for Jun Wang campaign by joining us for an Easter dinner at Emperor's Palace today at 3:30. Finally, I ask that you all continue to show up and support this campaign by joining us for another action this Monday at noon. We will be meeting at the Justice Center and then marching to the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office to demand that the officers be held accountable for this murder and ensure that Jun Wang gets the justice he deserves. Thank you again to everyone who showed up to support today. While the struggle for justice will certainly be a hard one, we have nothing to lose but a more just and loving world to win. Thank you.
Remove, indict, convict! Send the killer cops to jail!
Remove, indict, convict! Send them killer cops to jail! Remove, indict, convict! Send them killer cops to jail! Remove, indict, convict! Send them killer cops to jail! Remove, indict, convict! Send them killer cops to jail! Remove, indict, convict! Send them killer cops to jail! No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
Okay. Damn straight. Okay, I think that concludes our remarks for today, but thank you again all for continuing to be here.
These racist cops have got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! These racist cops have got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! These racist cops have got to go!